Kool-Aid, get ready. Today we have an explosive cocktail of news that's going to turn your day upside down. We've just lived through 48 hours of pure Blaugrana adrenaline that have shaken up the transfer market. Imagine this: a regretful Dembélé, begging for forgiveness after his controversial statements, our beloved Ter Stegen standing firm like a wall against rumors of his departure, and Deco slamming the door shut on Gyökeres when everyone thought his signing was a done deal. But that's just the beginning. We're also going to unravel the uncertain future of Pau Víctor, who has Sevilla practically drooling over him, and we'll dive into the revolution that's brewing in Barca's goalkeeping department. Before we dive headfirst into this whirlwind of emotions, give the channel a boost with a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to activate that notification bell. Let's go. Barca's academy is back in the spotlight, and this time the focus is on a young player who arrived dreaming of conquering the Camp Nou, but now finds himself at a crossroads that could define his entire career. Pau Víctor, the 22-year-old Catalan striker who not long ago inspired hope among the fans, is now torn between staying to fight for a place or seeking his future far from home. The situation is as delicate as it is fascinating. Just look at the numbers: 29 official matches, but only 379 minutes on the pitch. Those are painful stats, especially for a player who signed until 2029 with the belief that this would be his moment. 2 goals and 1 assist aren't enough to convince Hansi Flick, and reality is stubborn. When you've got talent but no space to grow, something has to give. That's where Sevilla comes into play, a club in the midst of its own storms but still sharp-eyed when it comes to spotting opportunities. They're going through a tough time. No permanent coach, alarming financial troubles, and an institutional crisis that seems never-ending. Yet paradoxically, that desperation has led them to look toward La Masia. The proposal Sevilla's board is considering is a clever one. A loan with a purchase option that allows them to assess the player without jeopardizing their fragile finances. Barça, for its part, is no less savvy. If they agree to the deal, they'll include a buyback clause that allows them to re-sign the player if he blossoms as expected. It's the classic dilemma that every top club with a thriving academy faces. How long do you give a promising talent before deciding it's time to let them spread their wings? Barca's history is full of such cases, players who left only to return as stars, and others who found success elsewhere. What stands out though most is the sheer number of clubs showing interest in Pau Víctor. Besides Sevilla, teams like Betis, Celta, Valencia, Villarreal, and even Girona, where he was previously on loan, are closely monitoring his situation. It's proof that even though he hasn't yet broken through in the first team, others clearly see his potential. Marc-Andre Ter Stegen has decided to take a stand, and he's done so with elegance. While rumors about his possible departure have been swirling and media outlets speculated about Joan García as his successor, the German keeper shut down the noise with a statement that leaves no doubt. "I'm sure I'll be at Barcelona next season." It's a curious situation that perfectly reflects the reality of modern football. On one hand, you have a 32-year-old goalkeeper who just came back from the most serious injury of his career. 8 months sidelined due to a ruptured patellar tendon that could have ended the career of someone less mentally strong. On the other, a board looking ahead and viewing Espanyol's Joan García as a smart, long-term investment. Ter Stegen has shown extraordinary maturity in handling the situation. His press conference remarks were a masterclass in professionalism. "No one has spoken to me about that. I'm not worried." It's the response of someone who knows his worth and understands that competition is part of Barca's DNA. What's truly admirable is how he's handled his comeback from injury. Those 8 months of hell, days when he probably questioned whether he'd ever be the same goalkeeper, only made him mentally tougher. "My goal was to return to my best level, and I think I even surpassed it," he revealed. Powerful words, from someone who hit rock bottom and came back stronger. If Joan García does arrive, Ter Stegen won't see him as a threat, but as a challenge. "Great goalkeepers have come in with ambition, and all had to deal with competition," he recalled, perhaps thinking of when he first arrived to compete with Claudio Bravo. The international context also plays in his favor. With Manuel Neuer's retirement from the German national team, Ter Stegen is now the undisputed number 1 for his country. Julian Nagelsmann has full confidence in him, and that trust provides an extra boost of motivation that could be key in maintaining his position At Barça, Victor Gyökeres looked like the perfect signing on paper. A 26-year-old Swedish striker who had just delivered a dream season with Sporting CP, 54 goals and 13 assists in 52 matches. Numbers that make any sporting director salivate and had put him on the radar of Europe's elite. But football, like life, doesn't always follow the scripts we imagine. Deco, in his role as sporting director, was firm while speaking from Portugal. The center-forward position is not a priority for Barça this summer window. One sentence that firmly shut a door many culés believed was wide open. The decision makes footballing sense, even if it disappoints fans who dreamed of seeing the Nordic striker in the Blaugrana. Robert Lewandowski, who's about to turn 37, has just enjoyed his best campaign as a Barça player, 42 goals in 52 appearances. Numbers that speak for themselves and have convinced the coaching staff that the Polish forward still has plenty left in the tank. But the choice to rule out Gyökeres goes beyond Lewandowski's stats. The club's strategy is to bring in a more versatile player, someone who can operate out wide but also shift centrally when needed. It's a philosophy that aims to maximize Hansi Flick's tactical options and reflects football's evolution toward more multifunctional profiles. The names being mentioned to address this need are telling: Luis Diaz from Liverpool and Marcus Rashford from Manchester United. Two players who share the ability to adapt to different attacking positions and who better fit the playing style that the German coach wants to implement. The conversation Deco had with Rashford's agent shows that the club is serious. The Englishman is going through a rough patch at United, where he hasn't been able to fully reach his potential, and he could see Barça as an opportunity to relaunch his career in an environment that has historically brought out the best in talented wingers. OUSMANE Dembélé has been at the center of one of those stories that perfectly reflect the complexity of human emotion in elite football. After winning the Champions League with PSG in a crushing final against Inter Milan, 5-0, the Frenchman got swept up in the euphoria and made a few statements that would bring him more trouble than joy. PSG gave me everything I ever dreamed of in football, and I left Barcelona at the right time, were the phrases that sparked outrage among Barça fans. Statements likely made in the heat of the moment. They came off as a slap in the face to a club and a fan base that had given him the chance to shine when he was just a promising winger from Rennes. But the truly interesting part of this story isn't the initial remarks, it's what came after. In less than 24 hours, Dembélé realized the magnitude of his mistake and chose to step up and make amends. It was the heat of the moment. A lot of things were stuck in my throat, he admitted in an interview that exuded sincerity from every word. The Frenchman engaged in a remarkable act of introspection. He didn't look back on his years at Barcelona as a period he wants to forget, but rather as the formative chapter that turned him into the player he is today. I arrived at Barça when I was just 20. It was my dream club. It always was, he admitted, bringing back a sense of perspective that had briefly been clouded by triumph. Dembélé's apology goes far beyond polite words. It's a genuine recognition by someone who understands that the past cannot be erased, and that burned. Bridges are rarely rebuilt. Barca's fans deserve my eternal respect. If I ever came across as ungrateful, I'm sorry, he said, words filled with the kind of maturity he perhaps lacked the last time he wore the Blaugrana shirt. The truth is, Dembélé is experiencing the best moment of his career. With 33 goals and 14 assists in the season that just ended, and as a serious contender for the Ballon d'Or, the winger has finally reached the footballing peak he always promised, but took time to arrive. Perhaps that same peak has allowed him to look back with the perspective needed to recognize his mistakes and appreciate the journey. And that wraps up this review of 48 hours that have been an emotional roller coaster for all Barça fans. We've seen Pau Víctor at a crossroads, deciding whether to stay and fight or seek opportunity elsewhere. Ter Stegen responding with poise to the rumors. Deco unexpectedly closing the door on Gyökeres. And Dembélé offering an apology with admirable sincerity. These are stories that remind us why football is so much more than a sport. It's a universe of human emotion where pride, ambition, regret, and hope coexist in a constantly fragile balance. Now it's your turn. Do you think Pau Víctor should stay and fight for his place or look for minutes elsewhere? Will Ter Stegen remain untouchable? Or will Joan García come in and shake up the goalkeeping hierarchy? Was the decision to rule out Gyökeres the right one? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We love reading and debating with you. And if you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. See you in the next one.